A lot of people are wondering if their directory is a good idea. I thought it would be instructive for me to go and look at someone's directory right now and just give you some of my impressions and what I would do if it was my directory. One of the users in my Facebook group that's about directories, which you can join for free, put a link in the description. But anyhow, it's Emma Clifford. And so she asked me about this and she broke it down. I like how she broke it down. The idea is simple. It's a UK directory looking for looking for firework shops. So retailers, display companies, and events without having to dig through a lot of those old results. And a lot of local niches like that get very cluttered with old pages, old sites, things like that. Now, this is so she says here the MVP, and I like the word MVP because then you're looking at a minimal viable product, you're going to build it out and then make improvements to it. That's the same philosophy that I use. It's the ready, fire, aim philosophy that Michael Masterson talks about in his book, where you're actually creating things and then you're adjusting on the fly. And I think that's very important. So I love that. So this is very traditional local business directories. Businesses can be added, claimed, and updated with free listings covering the essentials like contact details and that sort of thing. And she also has a paid format. So she's testing this paid founding businesses for a business offer for early businesses who want better visibility. So this I find it's hard to get businesses to take up on, particularly if it's a new site. Now, I didn't see where that part was, but I like this because she's even thinking building it because Fireworks is one of those seasonal searches where suddenly people need something very specific. And this is a great model for a directory. It's not my favorite because it's very seasonal and I like things that are more kind of year round personally, but I can see how you can do this. A lot of people target that stuff around Amazon and putting up content that's very specific for what season is just around the corner. So there are existing sites, a lot of them feel outdated, full of ads, not useful for the public. It should be a cleaner, more useful version. That's definitely appealing. Now, she didn't give me the links to some of these other sites, which would have been helpful, but it's built with Next.js, Supabase, and she's worked through the fun bits, which is ironic, claim flow, which is always problematic. Anything you do that you're vibe coding or building with AI, the authorization is not a fun part. You spend 20% of your time doing the fun stuff and 80% doing auth, at least in my experience. Profile completeness, featured listings, Stripe SEO pages, and how to balance free listings with paid visibility without making the free version feel useless. And that's a challenge with a lot of these directories that have that model. That's why I like the affiliate model where you're in a niche where you're going to make money with affiliate income anyhow. So she's going to appreciate the feedback, especially getting businesses to claim update their listings, pricing for early paid listings, avoiding the directory looking empty while the data grows, and whether you lead with shops, displays, or events first. So here's the site. So I'm going to look at the site. So when I first look at the site, what I'm seeing here is it's got a basic logo. That's okay. This part here does not look so fireworksy. I almost thought it was desaturated because there's not a lot of color, but you want to have that contrast. And this is often a problem with these hero images because even if this looks great and there's enough contrast here, if you scale it down to a different mobile device, then it could be right in the middle of a part that's all white and it's a little bit of a problem. But I'm seeing this as not enough contrast just with the background. Okay. So we've got the postcode. I declined the listings because I'm not in the UK, but you've got the categories here. And this is interesting because I feel like this hire a display company, that's where you can get maybe a referral kickback from someone if they're having a wedding and they hire through your site or something like that. Public events and wedding fireworks coming soon. Coming soon looks great on a website, in my opinion, because it suggests that the website is still being developed, still being built. So we got host a fireworks night, know the law, and then we've got claimed updated and standout firework business from across the UK. So these are claimed. So she's already got some that are claimed and browse by region, news and guides. I like the contrast on this. This kind of pops out. This has too much orange in it to really contrast, but a nice little button here, little visual display when you go on that, add a listing. And of course, she's got the subscribe. So one thing that immediately, this is very UK focused and it's not like you want to scale it out. So it says hello at fireworkfinder.co.uk and then there's .com. Now both the UK and I know the US are big on fireworks. So I'm not sure if that's the plan. If not, I would have just gone with this domain and just really focus on the UK, because when people in the UK are doing a search and they see .com, they think, oh, that's in the States, in my opinion. And this little detail here at the bottom, I love. This is a great, interesting, this wheel here, like just that I think is really nice. And again, it's just a kind of little detail here. So they've got the footer, the subfooter, lots of space. That's pretty interesting. Now, a couple of things that I would say. So I asked Claude about this site. What's this site built with? And so I looked up what this site is built with. You can look up what different sites are built with on this. And I figured it was AI, and that was confirmed with what I saw here. So in the tech profile, you'll see that there's some global tags and things like that. It will basically tell you where a lot of the items are sourced. So Next.js, so it's owned by Vercel. And so of course that's going to be an AI type of site. So probably built with Claude or something like that. I don't know the details. Now this still looks like it needs a little cleanup because just SEO meta description is obviously, you see a lot more detail on some other sites about that. So I asked Claude what this was built with, and it says Next.js pretty clearly. There's a meta next size adjust, and that's a fingerprint, and so on and so forth. So the structure here, and then fireworks instead of your niches. So EN in every URL means build from day one to expand to multi-country. And again, I wouldn't do that necessarily. I think you might want to just go on the UK and own that, because when you go fireworks worldwide, different languages, that's like a huge project. And I think it's no longer in the scope of a solo premiere. So it talks about the claim listings here, content strategy, which is good. So there's a full back end. So Next.js, Postgres, Supabase. And what's good about that is you can create SEO pages. Now let's look at some of the pages here. I took a little bit before, a bit of a look. Now I don't think you need the home button here because you already have the Firework Finder, and that will click back to the home page. So you can go here to buy fireworks, and this will ask for my address. I'm not in the UK, but here are some of the listings here. So you've got the call, the website, directions, all that kind of stuff. And the map is all integrated. So that's good. The suggestion and update. This is all really well designed, what you would typically want for a company here. Here's where I push back on this template. The problem is Google might see this as really thin content. So if this were my site, I would be writing a lot more content about this. Now, this is obviously generated with AI and all products source and approved. Yeah, it doesn't say very much at all, right? I would add a quote that kind of maybe includes some references to local areas. And that would be a really big key, because then if I don't know anything about what this area is, but if it mentions like a couple areas, like just on Pepper Lane or some kind of area in the vicinity, that's a real connection of this. You know what this is about. So I would expand the prompt here on all of these sites. That's one thing that I would do. And then there's a lot of First Galaxy fireworks. Maybe it's like a band or something like that. What I don't see is a filter here where you can filter other than just the place. So Birmingham, it will just filter back the Birmingham ones, which is okay. But that's something you might want to add later in an MVP. What are the criteria people use to choose a fireworks? I don't do fireworks myself, so I don't really know. It's not my thing. So professional display companies, and this is interesting too, because then you're like tying in and you have something where they're spending more money buying fireworks. I don't know how many pounds that is, but if you're paying someone to do it, it's a higher profit service. And so that would be more interesting here. And I would just leave the contact up there instead of adding more, which could be fine. And add your business. Okay, so you can add we do both. Yeah, so they can add their listings here. Let's just go for a retail listing. So you need to create an account. They have the Google sign in, so that's good. And then you can just tell your people about the business. Now, I do want to go back and look at some of these guides here. Okay. Advertise with us. So let's see here. I guess this page isn't tied up, isn't wired in. So a couple pages aren't wired in, which is fine. Now, this is more, these are featured listings, right? So you get some more, you can see how like a card with the featured listing makes it pop up a little bit. Let's go into one of these. Now, this is a problem that you see with a lot of AI build tools too. You'll press on the listing and then it will take you to like the bottom of the page or the middle of the page. That's just a little detail that you want to clean up. You want it to go right to the top of the page here. And so this has been claimed by the owner. All right, so these are some details that are good. This is great to know, these details. This is the kind of thing that LLMs pull in. It's good to have multiple images. Right now, you can't click them. I would want to be able to click them and expand it to a little bit bigger. So we have the infrastructure for tags here. I guess it's just not wired up with some of these. And these, again, are not clickable. We got all these payment services that come in. And that's another opportunity you can use, actually, is because a lot of these businesses could be moved to there's a whole industry on switching people to better rates on that kind of stuff. What else here? So I think this is, again, it needs to be a little bit expanded. Stocks, brand stocked, could be expanded as well. That might be something that people like in that industry. I don't know. You got a video, so that's good. Minimum order, and you can leave a review. Another thing I want to push back on here is some of these articles here. So Firework Safety Guide here. Okay, that's not found. So where did I see it here? So yeah, know the law here. This is great. Almost goes to the top of the page. Not quite. And it's your AI right there. But this is cute. I like this. I like how this is broken down into these things. But I think this is still a thin page. You need to have, like, even if you put it at the bottom, like a nice block of text talking about this. It's great to have the bullet points, but I think it's still a thin page. And that's one of the things that you really want to avoid with these sites. The same thing here. These are very written, which is fine. Budget guide, got some nice, okay. So we got some affiliate income here, and this could be in more places, but yeah. But I saw some of these and I thought they were a little bit thin. So if you make those more content rich pages, then you're going to have a better chance of ranking for these pages. The other thing that I noticed is we talked about the /en. If you are just doing in UK, I would go with the .co.uk. Obviously, the site isn't really indexed. It's brand new. And I would clean up this slug as soon as possible. So you can ask Claude for different, what would be a good method for defining the slugs of this project in terms of categories and work it through. But I would definitely get rid of this because it's just an extra step. It would be just a lot cleaner without that if it would just fireworkfinder.com/host your own. Those are some thoughts about this. Again, I hope this is helpful. I'm trying to give some kind of context from my point of view. And as I said, I don't know that much about fireworks, so it's not really my niche, but be that as it may, hopefully this gives you some idea when you're trying to create your site, some things to keep in mind about what's good and what you could think of in your next project or as you're changing this one. If you have any questions about this, let me know below the video. I'll also put a link to my free course. I got a free guide that's going to show you how to build your own directory. I'll see you in the next one.